Guys? In today's video, I'm going to talk to you about why it may not make sense to sell a regular E85 Z4 for an M Roadster. So if you guys have been following my channel, you know that I have owned a 2003 BMW Z4 3.0i for 8 years now. Not 8 years, I'm sorry, 6 years. And that during that time, that car was my weekend car, my fun car, a car that I would take out on the weekends, and enjoy driving on back roads and mountainous roads. And then I recently, last year, purchased a 2007 BMW Z4 M Roadster. The one that comes equipped with the S54 engine. That was the same engine in the E86 M3, and that is the only Z4M Roadster that was ever created. The subsequent generations of the Z4 did not release an M version, so that was the one and only. And you know, as I kind of thought about having lived and owned, having lived with and owned both cars, the question I started asking myself is whether the Z4 M Roadster is worth the price premium over the regular Z4, my 2003 BMW Z4 3.0i. And if you were in the market to buy those cars, and this has pretty much been the case for a while now, even when I first bought my BMW Z4, but to really go from a regular Z4 to an M Roadster, you're looking at a price premium of between $15,000 and $20,000, right? So a lot of regular Z4 cars can be purchased for about $10,000 or less. If you are trying to buy a Z4 M Roadster, you're probably looking at a price range of about $25,000, mid 20s. So generally speaking, the price difference between the two is between um, $15,000 and $20,000, depending on the condition of the cars in question, obviously. And even though with the BMW Z4M Roadster, you're getting a more of a collector's car, which may be the reason why you want to buy it, and you're getting a car that's more rare and that's generally more desirable, particularly because of the S54 engine. There's some cons that come with buying a car like that. And I think the first one is that the S54 engine is not as reliable as the M54 engine or the N52 engine that comes in the regular BMW Z4s. It's not, they can have rod bearing issues. It's a more high strung engine, a more complex engine, and therefore it's not going to be as reliable as an M54 or an N52, depending on which year of the regular Z4 you buy. And and then on top of that, everything else, in terms of you need to have more. I think you need to change your oil more often. With the S54 engine, all the parts are generally more expensive than what you would find in a regular Z4, and therefore just the cost of maintenance, and also the fact that um, the cost of repairs can be high. You can even have certain catastrophic failures if the rod bearings fail with the engine. That creates a lot of pressure, I guess, a pressure that you wouldn't normally have with a regular Z4, especially because you will be shelling out between $50,000 and $20,000 to get into a Z4M Roadster to begin with, right? So you're going to pay a lot more to get into it, and you will get, what's generally a more desirable car, but you're also going to, potentially inherit bigger maintenance issues, which could compound, to the cost of owning the vehicle. And therefore, you are, from a financial perspective, you may be experiencing certain pressure that you wouldn't normally feel with a regular Z4 car. So I think in some ways that could be considered a con of going with the Z4 M Roadster. And then when you think about the driving dynamics, right, between the two cars, and you ask yourself which car is more fun to drive, that's also an interesting question. I mean, on paper, the Z4 M Roadster is a significantly faster car. It's got 330 horsepower versus the 225 that you get with the with a 3.0i with the M54 engine. It's got more torque, and if you look at the lap times, around various tracks, the Z4 M Roadster is significantly faster than a regular Z4, as it should be. I mean, that's kind of the whole point of an M car. Every M car is faster than a regular BMW counterpart. However, when you're in the real world, right, and you're limited by speed limits and traffic on the road, you really don't have as much of a chance to experience that extra speed and extra power uh, in the Z4M Roadster. And in some ways, there's kind of the old adage that says it's better to drive a slow car fast than to drive a fast car slow. When it comes to BMW Z4M Roadsters and regular BMW Z4s, that adage is very, very relevant. Typically, like if this is going to be your third car, you're going to be taking this car out on the back roads when the weather's nice, when you can drop, when you can take the roof down. And when you're driving that car on the back roads, first of all, you're not going to be able to go super fast um, because of speed limits, because of traffic, because it's just not safe. And on top of that, when you drop the roof down on a convertible car, like there's wind in the cabin, you get a lot of sensations, and you're not necessarily like wanting to go as fast as you can with the roof down. Like you just have a sense of speed, in a convertible with the roof down, like at 50, 60 miles an hour, that you don't necessarily get the same feeling, of a car with a hardtop roof going 70 or 80 miles an hour. So like when you take the roof down, like you're not really looking to go super fast. It's really more about like the holistic experience. So you're basically in the situation, you paid extra money to buy the Z4M Roadster. It can go faster, but then you take the car out on the back roads. But you realize that at least like at lower speeds, the Z4M Roadster doesn't feel much faster than the regular Z4. In fact, one could almost argue, or at least it feels like that, on those back roads, the regular Z4, like the 3.0i, um, is almost a little bit more quicker and more nimble, like in a weird way, right? Like because with the Z4 M Roadster, like when you hit the gas and it starts going up high up into the rev range, then it starts pulling like a freight train. Okay, like you're going super fast. Like once you cross that 4,000, 5,000 RPM threshold, I mean, the car really starts to take off, and it would completely burn a regular Z4 from that point on. But again, when you're driving on a back road, it it's hard to find places where you can kind of take it to 4 or 5,000 RPM and still do it in a safe manner, right? So like where the car is significantly faster than a regular Z4, which is in those high RPM range, um, you don't necessarily have a ton of opportunities on back roads to get the car up to that point, right? On top of that, this regular Z4 is lighter. It weighs less than the Z4M Roadster. It's about 2,900 pounds, the curb weight of a regular Z4, the 3.0i. And with the M Roadster, you're looking at over 3,200 pounds, right? So that's a 300-pound difference, which can become noticeable. And the Z4M Roadster is also a little bit wider. It's got a wider track, and it makes the car feel a little bit bigger on the back roads, on the twisties, in comparison to the regular Z4. So the situation you find yourself in is whenever you're driving these cars on the back roads, with the regular Z4, that's got 225 horsepower, 220 something pound foot of torque, you can push that car hard and the car will go pretty quickly, but it's not going to get you in like jail territory in terms of going fast. And then it also being lighter, it almost, like I said, it has that more of a nimble feel, which enables you to like go as fast on the back roads as you would in a regular or in the M Roadster. So yeah, it's kind of a weird thing, right? Like you're incurring this extra cost to buy this faster car with a more powerful engine, yet you're going to drive that car on the same back roads that you would be driving a regular Z4 on. And on those regular roads in the real world, the regular Z4 is just as fast or close to being as fast as the Z4 M Roadster. And when you kind of think through that, you end up being in a situation where you're like, okay, so I paid extra money to buy the Z4 M Roadster, but when it comes to just the driving dynamics and everyday usability, it's like I'm not really getting a ton of benefit on that, like with that particular car versus like what you would get with a regular Z4. So that's all that is to say is that when you go on these forums, I think this is generally a problem with like BMW forums in general, and I think other forums as well. But you'll get on these like forums, and people will basically, like, guys that have the faster car will always trash the guys that have the slower car. This was such a major issue back in the E93 series days when the 335i guys would talk about, would put down the 328i guys and tell them how they're, driving a dog and how it's not a real BMW and how the 335 is the only BMW that you should get. And then you get on these forums and the M3 guys would be trashing the 335i guys, right? So it's like there's always these guys, and same thing with the Z4. It's like people say the regular Z4 is a great car, but you got to go with the M. The M's so much better, and it's just. And I'm here to tell you, as somebody that's owned like faster BMWs, slower BMWs, as somebody that owned the 328i and then a 335i and then back to a 328i, as somebody that owned a Z4 3.0i and an M Roadster now, it's like my suggestion is just don't listen, to everybody else's opinions. Do what you like, and I will just get a car that you enjoy driving. And I will say that you should not feel like you're missing out um, on some you know significantly different driving experience owning a regular Z4 versus owning an M Roadster. You're just not. Ultimately, they're very similar cars. Some might argue that in terms of buying just a fun roadster car that you can toss around the back roads and just have fun with on the weekends, one could argue that the Z4 is even better. The regular Z4 is even better for that than the M Roadster. So all I'm trying to say is you just buy the car that you like, enjoy it. Don't feel like you're missing out just because some car on paper has better stats, faster 0 to 60 numbers, etc. There's just a lot more to the driving experience, and I think generally speaking, with cars that you're going to be driving in the regular world, less is more, right? Less can be more because the slower the car, the more that you can push it responsibly and still stay within the legal guidelines that everybody has to adhere to. So that's it. Kind of my thoughts on the regular Z4, the 3.0i. Now that I've owned both the Z4 3.0i and the M Roadster, both are great cars. Both are fun cars, but yeah, just don't forget that you don't need that M badge to have fun, because the regular BMWs are just as fun, if not more. If you guys like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more videos. Appreciate your watching. Bye.